You finished that massive nonfiction book. You highlighted every single sentence that looked important. You feel smarter for about 12 hours. Then someone asks you to summarize what you learned, and your mind goes completely blank. It's a frustrating cycle, right? You dedicated hours, maybe even days, consuming this incredible content, only to have the knowledge evaporate like steam off a hot pavement. What's the point of investing time in learning if the information doesn't stick when you actually need it? I'm here to tell you it's not a memory problem. It's an input strategy problem. We were taught to read, but we were never taught how to retain. Today, we're going to dive into 5 powerful psychological tricks that effectively fool your brain into prioritizing the information you consume. We're going to treat this reading material not as temporary data, but as survival-critical knowledge that requires immediate storage. If you want to stop rereading the same concepts every single year just to refresh your memory, then you need to master these 5 strategies. 1. The pre-read filtering protocol. The biggest mistake we make when reading is approaching the text passively. We sit back and wait for the information to be delivered to us. Your brain is a filtering machine, and if you don't give it a filter, it treats everything as junk mail. Before you open the book, the article, or the report, stop and ask yourself 3 specific, challenging questions that you need the text to answer. Don't just think, I want to learn about productivity. Think, what are 3 specific tactics successful CEOs use to manage their time? And which of those 3 is applicable to my current role? When you prime your brain with a specific target, it instantly switches from passive receiver mode to active hunter mode. It automatically starts filtering out the fluff and aggressively searches for the answers to those questions you posed. You're no longer just reading words, you're engaging in a treasure hunt. This dramatically increases the emotional weight and perceived importance of the relevant data, locking it into long-term memory faster. 2. Immediate, simplified transmission. The single greatest technique for memory retention is not reviewing the material, it's teaching the material. This is essentially the Feynman technique. If you can't explain a complex concept simply enough for a reasonably intelligent 10-year-old to understand, you don't actually understand it yet. You're just recognizing the words. Here's the trick. As soon as you finish a chapter, stop. Don't move on. Get a blank piece of paper or open a voice note and immediately try to narrate the core concepts to an imaginary audience. When you're forced to, articulate the idea, to use your own language, simplify the jargon, and construct a logical narrative, you expose the gaps in your knowledge instantaneously. Those gaps become friction points. When you go back to fill those specific gaps, the new knowledge sticks because your brain now knows exactly where that information belongs in your existing framework. 3. Implement the forgetting curve strategy. We've all heard of spaced repetition, but most people misunderstand how to use it effectively. They think spaced repetition means scheduling time to reread their highlighted notes. Wrong. Rereading is passive consumption. The real power lies in retrieval practice. Your brain learns through struggle. When you retrieve information, when you force your memory to pull up that fact or concept without external aid, that moment of mental effort is what strengthens the neural pathway. It's like exercising a muscle until it fails. Here's how you apply it. When you finish a section, don't look at your notes, close the book, close your notebook, and force yourself to answer those 3 initial questions you wrote down. Wait 24 hours, then try again. Wait 3 days, then try again. Wait a week, and try one more time. The struggle itself is the retention mechanism. When you successfully retrieve that information under duress, you signal to your brain, this information is critical. We must keep this. 4. Create sensory contextual anchors. Our memory system is phenomenal at remembering stories, locations, and sensory details, but terrible at abstract, floating facts. This is why you can remember where you were when you heard major news, but you can't remember what you had for dinner 3 nights ago. To trick your brain, you need to tie the abstract information to a physical context or an emotional state. This is often called context-dependent memory. If you're studying a specific topic, try to limit your consumption of that topic to one physical space, specific chair, a particular coffee shop, or even standing up while reading. When you later try to retrieve that information, simply visualizing the chair you were sitting in, the scent of the coffee, or the sound of the ambient music can instantly provide a whole host of cues that pull the abstract data back into focus. You're building a multisensory map for the knowledge, instead of just dumping it into a generalized digital file. 5. Structure and externalize the data. When you look at a complex subject, your brain sees chaos. When you look at an organized chart or an acronym, your brain sees a simple path. Our brains love structure because it reduces cognitive load. You need to take the raw text and immediately turn it into a clear, externalized framework. This means creating mental maps, flowcharts, or simple 3-point bulleted lists on paper. Don't just rely on digital notes. The act of handwriting physically engages different parts of your brain. If the book lays out 7 principles for effective leadership, turn those 7 principles into an acronym you can easily recall. If a complex scientific process is described, draw a simple, ugly stick figure diagram showing the flow. By externalizing the structure, you stop holding the raw data and start holding the times container times for the data. And once you have the container, you can access everything inside quickly and efficiently. Look, the common thread running through all these strategies is simple. Reading is passive, but remembering is active. Your brain remembers what it uses and what it struggles to retrieve, not just what it sees or highlights. Stop treating books and articles like entertainment you consume and forget. Start treating them like instruction manuals that require immediate testing, application, and structural modification. That's how you trick your brain into locking that knowledge down forever. If these ideas resonated with you, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments, which one of these 5 techniques, the filtering, the teaching, or the anchoring, are you going to implement on the very next thing you read? Don't just watch this video and forget it. Start applying it right now. I'll see you in the next one.